Good morning. This is Morning Thoughts with Teresa Beam. Well, we have a week of cloudy drizzle in our forecast, but I'm awake and watching the dark gray clouds grow into light gray clouds. And, you know, I just thought I would comment about a news item this week. There was a person who flushed their pet gerbil down an airline's toilet, and I thought it was amusing on many levels. For a person who feigned to love their animal and just get mad and flush it down the toilet, that doesn't sound like they really liked their pet to me anyway. That sounds like someone throwing a mean-spirited fit. No nice person kills her pet when she doesn't get her way. But this story got me thinking in general about my experience with pets. We love our pets, and that's good. God made us to love our pets. They're His gift to us. Growing up, we had animals around us. And we had adorable little puffy white Persian kittens. We had dogs, just the normal animals that most families have in America. Now, my grandparents had cows and horses and chickens, and for a city girl, I was actually around a lot of animals, and I enjoyed them. But I was allergic. My parents didn't even know I was allergic till I was an adult. I wasn't really allergic where people could notice. Yeah, a sneeze now and then, but my pet allergies were unseen. My nasal passages would swell, and then I couldn't breathe, or at least I had a hard time breathing. I remember many, many nights growing up when I was so stuffed up I couldn't sleep. Occasionally, I would even snore, and that was so embarrassing to me as a little girl because my sisters were in my room that I just would lay awake, being afraid to go back to sleep. I remember my lips would become so chapped from breathing through my mouth that they would swell up and get rosy red, and everybody thought it was so cute. And I was like, I'm suffering here. This is not, the red, rosy lips were painful, and often they would start bleeding. Back then, all they had was Vaseline to put on them, and that didn't really help much for the pain. Sometimes my allergies would be so bad that I would hang my head over the side of my bed so that my nasal passages would drain out of my nose to keep from going down my throat because my throat was raw, and I often got strep throat. I at least got it at least once a year. When I entered my early teens, I was so continually stuffed up because of pet allergies that I would go and sit by myself during lunch because I couldn't breathe through my nose. It was very unladylike and embarrassing to have your mouth gaping open and you're struggling to breathe while you ate. If people would come and sit by me because they thought I was being a loner, I would then either just stop eating altogether or I would hold my hand in front of my mouth so no one could see my mouth and all the food in my mouth. I never complained because I thought people weren't supposed to complain. I was told we were supposed to be tough. So I really wasn't even aware that you could complain about such things. So I didn't tell my parents. It was just a condition I lived with. Thank goodness I now have Benadryl and Carmex and Afrin. So I no longer suffer as I did when I was growing up. And actually, I'm not near as allergic as I was growing up. Well, after I got married and had some kids, one of my sons had severe life-threatening asthma. The doctor said we could have no animals at all, that animals could kill my little son. Many nights we had to rush him to the hospital in order to get treatment so that he could breathe. I laid hundreds of nights next to him in his bed, listening for his breathing and falling asleep on the floor lying next to him. I remember once in the middle of the night when my son was just a few months old. I was rushing him to the hospital, speeding in my car. The hospital is about 20 minutes away from our house. And so I was very fearful that he was going to die. Then my car ran out of gas. It was past the time anything would have been open anyway. We were out in nowhere, and it was pouring rain. That was before cell phones. So what I did was I bundled my tiny son up in my coat to keep him from getting chilled by the rain, and I walked to the nearest farmhouse. It was raining so hard that the earth was completely soaked, and as I trudged through the mud, I got stuck. I literally got so stuck with both feet that I was unable to get out. So after struggling and panicking, I even fell several times. Let me tell you, falling with a little baby in your arms, it hurt. But I was struggling to get my feet out. I pulled as hard as I could, and finally my feet released, just not with my shoes. I had no choice but to leave my shoes in the mud, and I now trudged through even more mud trying to get to this home. And, I'm terrible with guessing distances, but I'm saying it was probably less than a football field away. I was sobbing and crying out to the Lord to save my son, because I thought he was going to die, and I tried with all my might to get to that farmhouse. Now, can you imagine having a woman soaked to the skin, maybe at 2 o'clock in the morning? I had no shoes on. I was crying my eyes out. I was hysterical with fear that my child was dying, and I was ringing the doorbell. Can you imagine when the elderly couple answered the door, what they thought of me? I just begged them to call 911. I just said, please call 911, please. My little baby was now wheezing so badly, and I felt his head, and he was incredibly hot. I was desperate. This kind couple saw the situation, and instead of waiting for an ambulance, threw us both into the car and sped us to the hospital. We made quite a pathetic sight rushing into the emergency room that night. Now, what has this got to do with animals? People judge me harshly when it comes to animals. They don't understand my life experience. They have not held a little baby struggling for life because of asthma. They've never suffered because of allergies. We have sympathy for people who have food allergies to peanuts or gluten. We make allowances for people who choke at cigarette smoke. But we roll our eyes at people who are allergic to animals. We're treated like animal phobes, like we're bad people. It seems to be okay for us to suffer sleepless nights, unable to breathe. It's okay for asthma sufferers to have to haul around life-saving inhalers when we think we might be near animals. Now, I'm not that bad, but I know people that are that bad. And I'm not telling this for personal reasons. Hey, I outgrew most of my allergies, and as long as I don't have to live with a pet in my home, I'm okay. So I'm not saying to worry about me. This is really not to complain, but to bring to light a strange inconsistency in our culture. Animals seem to take precedence in many cases over humans. And that's what I don't understand. God made animals as a gift because He loves us. Animals are utterly amazing in so many ways. Throughout history, they have helped humans survive by helping us plow the fields. They've transported us around. They've prevented us from starving to death. They've been our protectors, our entertainers, and our best friends. Animals love us without causing any drama in our lives. They expect very little back from us. My son has this adorable small terrier of some sort. And I've never seen a dog that loves so much that when we visit, he gets so excited that he almost faints. Now, that is a dog that understands my heart. I feel the same way with family members. Fenton and Willow are our family's precious pets, and I truly enjoy them as long as I wash my hands after touching them. My concern is that our society has so polarized with everything, with race, age, gender, sexual proclivity, wealth. Satan is doing his best to divide us on everything, even our pets. It's as if we think that anyone who disagrees with us on anything is our enemy. I see this continually online. If you voted for Donald Trump, then you're not my friend. If you're not part of Black Lives Matters, you're a racist. If you're not a foodie, then you're mean. Both sides do this. We try to shame people if they don't agree with us. And that's bullying. Lately, I've even seen this on the topic of animals. We've become so polarized that if someone has an animal allergy, they're animal haters and the enemy. And even to suggest that a pet is not a person is hate speech. This is so bizarre. And I do understand it. Humans have hurt us so badly that we have turned to our pets for love. Our pets are there for us when humans are not. Our pets do not abuse us nor abandon us. Our pets, to many, seem like our salvation. You know, what I see does not make me want to mock, chastise, or judge people in this situation. Jesus gave us our pets because he knew we would need them. They're a blessing to us. But you know, they should never be a wedge between us. Rather than chastise people for loving their pets too much, or chastise people who don't have pets that they love like other people, maybe Christians should be so kind and so loving and so gentle. Well, more like our pets, giving unconditional love, so that our families will not have to put the responsibility of this type of survival love on these animals. They can go back to being what God meant them to be, a gift to us humans, because He, God, loved us so much. He gave us these sweet little animals. We don't need to love our pets less. We need to love each other more. Morning Thoughts has been brought to you by Sunbeam Productions. That is SONBEEM Productions.com. Have a wonderful day.